Welcome to the last day of our seminar. Over the last 4 days, you have learned how to recognize and analyze different states you can find yourself in, as well as you got a few instruments that will allow you to find a solution in these situations. And today, I would like to share with you 7 life lessons and give you an insight in my career. Let's begin. Lesson number 1. Other people have different perceptions, so whatever message you are trying to bring across, make it as simple as possible. You can even imagine that you're explaining it to your grandma. You see, the thing is that other person is likely to think that you are an idiot and not them if they don't understand something. It brings a smile to my face when I remember when I was 23 years old, I tried to look more serious and experienced than I actually was at the moment. So at the time I was working as a director's assistant in a medical consulting company, and it was my second or third customer. So I spent the entire night learning medical terms. And as we met, I spent good 5 minutes buzzing around and trying to explain him what exactly we have done in regards of his case. After I was done, the customer turned around to me and said, "Do I look like a doctor to you? Explain everything in simple words." And the case was exactly the same with every single customer, even with the country leaders. And that's when understanding came that we pay money to make our life simpler, not to make it more complicated. Life is complicated enough as it is, and the true art is to remain simple. Lesson number 2. There are 2 types of people, leaders and the ones who like to be led. There is some certain type of freedom in both positions. Back in UK, when I worked at Rolls-Royce, I remember how at some point I learned that you can do different courses in order to increase your qualification, and this was allowing you to get a better position at the company. So at some point there was a guy who needed help with work, and me and partner of the time, we helped him to get into the company. So I was eager to share with him this information that you can do different courses, and then you will increase your qualification, and then you will get a better position. So I was pushing him and telling him, go here, do this, study that, and I was doing it for 1 week or so. And then I started to get frustrated because I couldn't understand why he wasn't proceeding. And then at that point he came to me and he said, "Don't you understand, Eva? Don't you understand that I don't want to be like you? I don't want to work 13 hours a day. I want to work from 9 until 5 and then go home and rest. And then in a few years, I want to have a family and lead a peaceful, simple family life." At that point, 20-year-old me was shocked. I have never thought up until that day that somebody could think differently than me. And now, 10 years later, he is still working at the same position. He is a happy father and husband. And I have insane stories to tell in regards of my career, and I also have lived in several countries. Who is happier? It's hard to tell. I believe both of us are, because every single one of us have different understanding of what happiness is. As Fritz Perls said, the highest respect you can give to the person is acceptance of who they choose to become. Lesson number 3. Every single one of us has his own struggles we are going through. What might seem a small thing to you can be someone's biggest tragedy, and what might seem to you as a peak of happiness can be someone's hardest and most painful victory that doesn't bring them any joy at all. You see, let's imagine 2 people. One person has a low-paid job and he was saving for 1 year in order to buy a new phone. And then there is a second person who has a really high salary and really high amount of savings. So both of them purchase the phone, and then on the next day after the purchase, phone gets stolen. For a first person, it will be the biggest tragedy. They have just lost 1 year of savings. But in the second case, he will just go to the shop and buy a new phone. Does the person number 2 understand the degree of suffering of the first one? No, he doesn't. Is he entitled to tell him, cheer up, it's just a phone? No, he's not. But only by asking the questions we can get a full understanding of what happened in other person's life and give them support if that's needed. Lesson number 4. There is price of the choice. The price of the choice is something that we are consciously or unconsciously ready to sacrifice when we make a choice in favor for something. You see, we are standing in front of the choice every minute of our life to buy an Apple or Samsung, to wake up or sleep in, stay in a relationship or be single, and many more. The moment when you understand that life is complex of choices, the few things become clear. The first thing is the more global choice you are facing at the moment, the higher will be the price of the choice. So let's say you have a dream of opening your own business. The price of the choice is your free time, stability, and steady income. However, if you choose to stay in the job you're in at the moment, the price of the choice is your dream. Second thing is that if you make a choice towards something familiar, something comfortable, our results tomorrow won't be drastically different from what we have today. Only when we make a choice towards something new, something that we haven't seen before, our perception changes, we get new experiences, the new possibilities come across, and also we can reach a different results. So you see, your today's reality is the result of all the choices you have made up until this point, and where you will be tomorrow will be the result of decisions you are making right now. Lesson number 5. Communication is not the way to let your frustration out. The communication is the way to interact, inform the world about your needs, and show who you really are. People who know me, they know that they use the term verbal diarrhea. I use it in cases when a person talks a lot, but then in entire speech there isn't even one single solid message. You know, every interaction has a purpose. And when we talk about efficient communication, you need to take 4 things into account. First is take into account who you are talking to. Second one, what is the purpose of this communication for you? What is the purpose of this communication for another person? And make sure communication is clear, meaning that there is no space for different interpretations. So instead of asking to your friend, what are you doing this weekend? Tell him, I have time on this Sunday, would you like to meet up? Instead of asking your boss, are you planning salary increase this year? Tell him, I am interested in salary increase, what can I do for that? Remember that structure of your speaking reflects the structure of your thinking, and the moment you open your mouth, you show the world who you really are. Lesson number 6. Asking for help is strength, not a weakness. You see, for a majority of my life, I live with the thought that I can control everything and that's the best way to do the things. And to be honest, it works. It works only in case if you do not have high degree of responsibilities. And behind the belief that only I can do the things the way I want them to be is fear. This fear is individual for every single one of us. However, in my case, it was a fear of losing control, it was a fear of losing everything, and fear of not being needed. You know, in reality, people are happy to help you. That's how we feel needed and appreciated. So if you have a friend who can help you, or if you have a coworker who can help you, or maybe you have a partner to whom you can distribute your tasks, just do it. It will give you a great relief and give you more resources to actually focus on the things that are important and that you are good at. Lesson number 7. Work is not my everything, and I will be sincerely honest with you that this is the hardest lesson I have learned up until this day. You see, I became a businesswoman, and that meant for me that I needed to work 13 to 18 hours a day, leaving no space for my private life. And unconsciously, I started to fulfill all my needs via work, meaning need of being accepted and needed. I became very close friends with my business partner. Need of new impressions, traveling via work. Need for social life, organizing work events, business meetings, and so on. But this is a very, very dangerous path to walk, because you only feel good when business is doing well, and the moment when things doesn't go the way you planned, you start to feel like you are losing your value as a human being. So, and at the point when things fell apart, when they broke, I broke with them. And exactly for this reason, I paid so much attention and I give so much value to knowing your own emotions and your needs and have all these coping mechanisms, because I learned it in a hard way. Everything you have heard from me in these 5 days of our seminar, I have applied in my life and I find it efficient. I was honored to share my experience with you, and I look forward to seeing you in other programs or in individual sessions, shall you decide for it. With you was I, Eva Sprudzane. See you soon!